Which conspiracy theory is so believable that it might be true? That your phone's microphone is constantly hot and it's listening for keywords to target advertising. Most glaring instance where this happened to me was when I walked into a colleague's office. He had just gotten a standing desk, but one that goes on top of his existing desk rather than a standalone bun model. That's important to note. I said, nice standing desk. When did you get that? Thanks. Just today, he replied. That was literally all that was said about the desk. We talked about work related stuff, and as I walked out and checked my phone, there was an ad on Facebook for that exact model of standing desk. I have never owned one, wanted one, or googled one before, yet there it was on my feed. Tinfoil hat be damned. They listening. The arms on Tyrannosaurus rex skeletons are backwards. They ought to be rotated 180 degrees. What good are these stubby little arms for? We have found out relatively recently that Rex have feathers. It is now an established fact. T-Rex were not covered in scales but in feathers, like a bird. Take the arms on Adrex and flip them around 180 degrees. Now you have wings like a ostrich. We used to think of almost all dinosaurs as lizard-like. In fact, the name means terrible lizard. Now we know that many different animals that we think of as dinosaurs are more bird-like than lizard-like. Tyrannosaurus rex had wings. Not big wings to fly with, but wings that were perhaps something like that of an ostrich, cassowary, or emu, although likely much smaller in proportion to their body. Ostriches use their wings in mating rituals to make themselves appear larger and to signal and communicate. Perhaps Rex used this for some similar purpose. They did not have useless stubby little arms. This just blew my mind. I hope this catches steam. All rocks are soft until you go to touch them. That there are hundreds of companies that operate tens of thousands of Reddit accounts each. They have been auto-rigging these accounts for years. Use scripts to auto-post and comment, and have humans that shift through all the accounts to make various comments to maintain these accounts. These companies have the ability to control and game their way to the front of Reddit. Huge brands use them. Special interest groups use them. Political parties use them. It's not a conspiracy. It's a real thing. The ballistic missile threat that was sent to Hawaiian cell phones saying, "Seek shelter, this is not a drill," that was later deemed a mistake, was a real missile that was intercepted before impact. Dyson purposefully made the cable shorter over time, just before announcing the cordless version. My DC-01 has a 12 male flex. My DC-14 has a 6.5 meter flex. They purposefully made the flex shorter to be an inconvenience and make people want the cordless version. Memes about the NSA and other spy programs are encouraged by the very agencies spying on us to twist the idea into the absurd and to humanize their agents. Millie crazy streak was all a carefully planned marketing scheme to get her solidified as an A-list celebrity. I believe it was done to make Disney completely cut ties with her and kill the image of Hannah Montana. It's worked too. Hannah Montana was quite possibly Disney's largest TV show ever, but I haven't seen anyone even mention it for over 4 years now. The Vatican holds horrible dark secrets and many answers to existential questions. And that Area 51 is a publicity stunt by the government to hide the real testing facility. The Vatican has many vaults literally stuffed with thousands of documents that no one but people in the Pope's circle have access to. Who knows what's in those? I'm willing to bet there are parts of the Bible Christian history that will never see the light of day thanks to Emperor Constantine creating the first official canon of the Bible. YouTube in a mobile browser is so shitty so they can force you to use the app and not use an ad blocker. Long John Silver's is some kind of money laundering scheme on the basis that they have been open for as long as I can remember, but I have also literally never seen a busy Long John's. Toxic delusion that I ironically entertain, perhaps. The president of the Philippines, Duterte, is very anti-drugs to hide his own involvements with drug cartels off which he makes billions. that the CIA posts this question every time, so they know what the general public suspect. Apple started the meme about AirPods being expensive as a marketing ploy. Happened around Christmas. You might be right. The value of expensive art is just as a pseudo-currency for rich people to subtly buy drugs or other illicit things. Cops go on wires and leave random police sightings to cause people to slow without actually having to stay and check on people. I don't have time to type it all out right now, but the entire situation surrounding the construction and operation of Denver International Airport is strange, even by non-conspiracist standards. Have fun in the rabbit hole. The recommended food pyramid is created by the FDA, but the FDA is funded by a lot of certain food industries, poultry, dairy, etc. They in turn made the recommended nutrition based off of their funding by these companies, and not based on a well-balanced diet. The government experiments on the mentally insane, because no one will believe someone with that kind of medical history. This is going to get buried. But smartphone batteries. Remember when phones used to have removable batteries and now almost none of them do? A law enforcement agency could make you think that your phone is powered off when in reality it's just displaying a black screen. That way they could still track you, listen to your conversations and take pictures. You would never know for sure. The Phantom Cosmonaut Conspiracy. Pretty much. The short story is that Yuri Gagarin is not the first man to go to space, but the first one to go and come back alive. It just seems like a USSR thing to do. The oil and coal industries invested heavily in killing off nuclear power as an attractive alternative. These days we have reactor designs many times safer than other methods of generating power, and the waste issue is something that could be fixed with sufficient investment. Multiple football World Cups have been influenced either by governments hosting them or other entities out for their own gain. 2002 South Korea, Japan, and 1978 in Argentina are the two most obvious ones that come to mind. It's well known that international sports, including soccer and the Olympics, are huge septic pools of corruption. I have a few I love. 1. Kobayashi the competitive eater is really a fantastic up-close sleight of hand artist. 2. Weather forecasters buy stock in supermarket chains and then over-exaggerate winter storms. 3. Weather control. That big bread paid toaster manufacturers to put in a setting that is too high so that people would burn their toast, meaning that they sell more bread. I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory at this point, but a lot of people still don't acknowledge that your internet searches and social media profiles are absolutely being used as training models by major ag companies. I was a drunk college student and had access to them to run AI training. If you still think you're off the grid, you're an idiot. Being frank, it's not a big deal if you don't have dark shit to hide. Those people are too busy building the new technological world to give a shit that you look at Majid P. But don't delude yourself to think people don't have access to anything you do on the internet. I've always found it very plausible that Hitler didn't kill himself in the bunker and instead fled to South America. Let's look at what we know about his death. With Germany on the brink of defeat and Russian forces closing in, Hitler shoots himself in a bunker hours before they arrive. German soldier then drag the bodies of him, his wife, and his dog into the front yard and burn them beyond recognition. The bodies are positively eyed by dental records provided by the Nazi Party. Given the fanatical devotion the Nazis has to Hitler, it is extremely possible that they would have been willing to shoot and burn body doubles and alter the dental records of the corpses to match Hitler and his wife. Meanwhile, Hitler would have been evacuated to a country where he could lay low and take on a new identity. My guess would be Argentina, who fostered multiple high-ranking Nazi officials. I'm not saying he couldn't have also just shot himself in the bunker, but the whole thing always felt fishy. French scientists have recently studied the skull that Russians claim is Hitler's, and they believe the skull is Hitler's, though a study done a few years earlier in the US says it is not Hitler's. Mattress firms aren't only holding mattresses, buddy. Women's pants pockets are significantly smaller than men's pants pockets to encourage us to buy handbags and purses. Car companies killed cheap public transit. They bought up the trolleys and streetcars in major American cities and made them all go out of business to promote automobile sales. Sometimes I really believe the rumor that Avril Lavigne died in 2003 and was replaced by her double. Other times I think it's complete BS. Depends on the day. I believe it kind of. But I don't think she died. I feel like she was just a kid who didn't want to be in the public eye anymore and made a deal with her friend. I mean, it could all be bullshit, but I could buy that more. She actually had a lot of medical stuff going on, including Lyme's disease. All social media platforms are a direct result of Patriot Act and are used to keep tabs on everyone. Hence the billions of users, with algorithms to keep you addicted to the constant information and the dopamine inducing likes. Wouldn't that also include Reddit? Dun dun dun. They know too much. Take him out. There's an underground PR firm that helps celebrities fake their own death to escape the harshness of the limelight, or if they feel like their life is in danger. I.e. Tupac, Biggie, Paul Walker, etc. Michael Jordan's first retirement was actually a suspension by the NBA because of his gambling. It was to avoid a suspension. Subtle difference. There was a dude that invented a car that runs on water. He stated multiple times he would not die from natural causes and that if he dies to investigate it. A year away from putting his cars into mass production, he died. Before he died, he said that oil companies have threatened his life. I got this info from my dad a couple months ago, but look the dude up. Search like water car or whatever. The FBI is using Amazon's Alexa to spy on people. Lotteries are actually traps for time travelers. The one that I heard last year seems entirely possible. Adam Sandler makes movies for vacation spots for his group of friends. Can't find the original way someone put it, but that is close enough, lol. I don't see them where I live now, but once I was living previously, there were a ton of these have written signs advertising that you call the number listed and they'll pay you cash for your house. There were a few for cars too, but probably 90% of them were something along the lines of we buy houses for cash with a number listed. No more context than that. They were all sloppily handwritten in black marker with the phone number being the biggest thing on the sign. I fully believe that they were posted to initiate some kind of secret meeting. They'd all pop up all at once just everywhere, and then most would disappear a few weeks later, and then pop up again a month or two after that. The signs were so ugly that you'd have to be a complete idiot to think they were legit, so maybe they were just scamming and trying to Nigerian prince it. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe,